Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. So for all you Audie fans, he is in the bedroom, asleep, as he has been for, a couple of weeks now. But because I keep mentioning this, I thought I'd give you some photos so you could see what I'm talking about. I've made Audie a little nest at the foot of the bed. There are 2 feather pillows and a soft plush blanket on top of them. And that's where he sleeps. I don't know why. This is kind of new. He used to sleep at the head of the bed, but I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he decided he likes the foot of the bed better. So there he was, snapped the picture. Eventually, of course, he figured out what was going on, so he turned around and he looked up at me. But I thought I'd give you a chance to see what I see when I go looking for a cat. And this is it. The extent of the reaction I get from him when I walk into the bedroom is occasionally he'll notice me and then look up and it's like, oh, you're here. Nice. And then he goes back to sleep again. So yeah, I think he's just sort of in winter hibernation mode. But we'll have to see, because he has been coming out quite a bit to photobomb videos, because that's his thing. All right, we are going to break quickly for a brief look at the intro, and we'll be right back. So before we get started, I wanted to share some Christmas presents with you so that you could see what I've gotten from some people in our community. So let me start with Colleen. As you may know, because I mentioned this when I first got the box, she sent this, among other things, the Boston Red Sox sweatshirt. Thank you, Colleen. I do love the daylights out of this because, of course, I have this long-standing love-hate relationship with the Red Sox, and that's not unique to me. All Red Sox fans have a love-hate relationship with the Red Sox. We love them when they're winning, we hate them when they're losing, and the only time they can actually guarantee our loyalty is when they're playing against the Yankees, in which case, even if they lose, we've still got their backs. But the Red Sox fans have gotten so out of hand that there are actually laws, literal laws on the books of Boston, that you can't abuse the umpires. So what can I say? Red Sox fans are a unique breed. Delighted with this, but this is not the only sweatshirt she sent. She sent this one. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show this to you because it is this massive sweatshirt. First of all, this is so thick and so plush that it took me days to get this away from Audie. As soon as it came out of the box, well, actually before it came out of the box, he curled up in the box to sleep on it. But it took me days to get this out. It is huge. It comes halfway down my calves, and it is what I am assuming to be a sleep sweatshirt. This is what they look like. These are massive. And it's got a hood and little eye mask things. So, brings its own sunset with it. It's got a pouch pocket. Here's that pocket. It's big enough to stick Audie in. But it's so soft. It really is. It is just plush velour. So very, very yummy. So thank you, Colleen. Here. Sorry, I got this in my lap too. It even came in a little plush bag, which I think would make a great sleeping bag for Audie. By the way, Audie agrees. But here, it's fleece-lined. This is what the whole thing is like. It's fleece-lined and plush and just... If I ever decide I need to take a trip to northern Canada, boy, this little bugger is coming with me. All right, let me show you some of the rest of the stuff. Now, Audie wasn't left out. I think I showed you this last time. This is a a little feathery cat toy on a stretchy cord. Audie doesn't usually play well with these things because he's too good at catching them. He will catch it, he won't let it go because, it's his, and, he got it fair and square. But he does enjoy chasing it for about, 4 or 5 seconds until he catches it, realizes he can't kill it, and then loses interest very quickly. But there's another one here. This one is a catnip toy. The problem with this one is it sort of looks like it's already been killed. And Audie's generally not a fan of something that's already dead. But we're going to have to see about this because he hasn't noticed it. He prowled through that box like crazy, got distracted by the big fluffy sweatshirt, and then never got down to seeing this. So we're going to have to see how well that works out. And we have another Audie-oriented present here. This is a little pouch. Let me get that open. See, it's a little pouch. It's beaded, so it's quite heavy. We have a whole bunch of Audies on one side and one lone Audie on the other. I really like this. I have no idea what I'm going to put in it, but this is just very interesting, isn't it? But it's very sparkly because of the beadwork, and of course we've got our Audie on it. Now, this I am going to have to go through. I will probably film going through this because this is a portable first aid kit. And I think at some point, especially given the fact that a lot of our viewers are seniors or approaching senior status, that talking about first aid kits might not be such a bad idea because it doesn't hurt to be prepared. So we can take this apart, take a look at it, and see if this is a good first aid kit and what my recommendations are for an actual functioning first aid kit. And I will want to hear yours too. So we'll save that for another video. But let me just get this. This is a lovely book. This is an older book, vintage. This is from the 1980s. And this is a guide to hand fans. And for those of you who are not aware, I do collect hand fans. I collect a very specific type of hand fan that sadly is not featured in this book, but still, we've got some, let's see what we can open it to. Gorgeous pictures of these fans here. And it's just one right after another. So I'm going to have a great time going through this. Thank you, Colleen. We're not done. I'll be right back. So another of our viewers sent me this from Highbrow. Ooh. I am delighted with this. First of all, I love tote bags. I love the daylights out of tote bags. And I have been hoping to eventually just go on the website, get something from Highgrove, just never quite got around to it. But this is about as Highgrove as it gets. It's just a tote bag with Highgrove on it. Fabulous. I do love this. But wait. And this is what came with it. Highgrove Fudge. So let's see if we can open this. Yeah, I have a sharp knife here somewhere. I have to be careful I don't end up dropping this on the floor. Here. There are like 2 of these blocks of Highgrove Fudge. Give me a second and I'll unwrap it. Okay, here we go. Highgrove Fudge. Now, I have to be honest, I don't really think my diet could do with Highgrove Fudge, but I will probably eat it all the same. So, This was from Phyllis, and thank you so much, Phyllis. Oh, delightful. All right, now let me get these things put away. We'll get back to the video. So yesterday, we were talking about New Year's resolutions, and I invited you all to let me know what was going on in your neck of the woods as far as resolutions go. And it was interesting because those of you who do/are making resolutions for the new year are generally making them in one of two areas. Not exclusively, but this was sort of the overriding theme from the resolutions from people who are doing this. And one was a health and fitness. People want to eat better, they want to lose weight, they want to get more exercise. And I consider that just sort of one large topic that can be teased out into dozens of smaller topics if you choose to. But I think the umbrella of health and fitness works for this. The other was financial. People wanting to spend less money. Now, I can certainly understand that because those are two areas in which I am hopefully going to be making some New Year's resolutions once I get around to making my resolutions. But there were a great many of you who don't make New Year's resolutions. Many of you just take that sort of year-round Kaizen approach, little tiny incremental changes, making things better, one baby step at a time. And that is good because the people I've known who have approached things that way have overall had better success. They've had more desired outcomes than people who just say, it's January 1st, I'm signing into a gym, and by March 30th, it's like I'm canceling that membership. And heaven knows I have done that myself in the past, so I'm not faulting anyone for it. It's just, I think the idea of forcing a teachable moment on someone, more about that in a moment, at a certain time of the year is not a plan. So, teachable moment, that's a theory in adult education. And for those of you who are not aware of it, that is my specialty in the field of education. So, my particular field of study was adult education. And adults don't learn the way children learn. Adults have to be motivated to learn. And there is this theory of adults need to come to that teachable moment, that point in their lives when they are receptive to the idea of learning something new. And a teachable moment can come through a variety of factors. You can come to your teachable moment because you got laid off from your job and suddenly you say, yeah, I need to acquire some new skills. You can wake up one morning and out of the clear blue sky say, you know, I bet I'd like to study French. You can sit in a classroom for months, even years, just zoning out and dozing off. And one day, everything just sort of falls into place. Can you force that onto an adult? No. Can you force someone to make changes simply because the calendar has flipped and it's a new year? No, you can't. There were some other ideas that came through too. Anne, our friend Anne, she's the one who sends us those lovely pictures of Scottish castles that become slideshows eventually. Anne had said that she's not ready to make New Year's resolutions. She has to figure out what the triggers are that are prompting the parts of her life that she wants to change. And I would say, good for you, Anne, because the best way to make meaningful change is to have a complete understanding of what you want to change. Don't try to just isolate a certain behavior and say, I want to stop that behavior. For example, I went through this years ago when I said I would just like to cut back on eating potato chips. I was on a potato chip kick at that time. So, yeah, I was able to stop eating potato chips. But you gotta know, the minute the potato chips went away, something else filled that void, because I had never actually dealt with what the real issue was. What is, as Anne says, the root cause of these behaviors that I want to change. And I think that is good and sensible in terms of an approach to making meaningful change. New Year's resolutions have, for some of us, been sort of a catch-all trendy, January, I want to stop smoking. It's like, yeah, right. Like you're going to be able to do that overnight. And by the way, if you are, my hat goes off to you, because breaking any kind of an addiction is not easy. It's like, gosh. And we have a whole body of literature to support that. So I think in terms of how we should approach this, it's probably not, let's look at January 1st as time of the year when we can turn our lives upside down willy-nilly and just change everything. And please, it's not that easy to change even little itty-bitty things in our lives. Never mind, we're going to turn the whole thing upside down, and we are going to go, from sitting around being a couch potato, eating potato chips all day long, and next thing you know, we're going to be Serena Williams. We're going to be out there running and playing tennis and winning Olympic medals. Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I think that looking to do something like that is just setting ourselves up for failure, which is not a good thing. And believe me, the world is going to dump enough failure on you. You don't need to dump it on yourself. So are there better ways to deal with it? And I would say, yeah. I would say it's a good time of year because it's winter for most of us, not for our Australian friends. Maybe 4th of July would be a good time for them to consider this. Because it's winter and because most of us are more housebound than we are at other times of the year, this might be a very good time to look at things that are more friendly to cold weather, housebound activities. Would this be a good time to clean out the closets? Sure. Is that a New Year's resolution? Well, why not? Anything can be a New Year's resolution. Anything. You can just get up and say, it's January, I'm going to clean out a closet. Why not? Because, again, we are very much housebound at this time of year. And even for those of us, in the Northern Hemisphere, sorry to my Australian and New Zealand friends, but this time of year our days are shorter. So even if we have the benefit of good, pleasant weather, because we have these shorter days, we're not able to be getting out quite as much as we would, in the summer months. So we can take advantage of that. This is probably a very good time, too, to take advantage of the opportunity to make some dietary changes. It's a bad time in some ways because fresh produce is not as widely available and therefore is usually a little more expensive. But it's a good time in that being housebound means we will be spending more time in our own kitchen and less time out on the sunny patios of restaurants with their menus of all these exotic and high-calorie foods. It's a good time to be able to look at things like that. I don't want to discourage anyone from making New Year's resolutions, but I do want to say that if you make dramatic resolutions, the chances of success are not quite as good as they are if you make small, attainable resolutions. Instead of, I'm going to embark on a crash diet, just look at what you're eating and say, I think I would like to replace cookies with rice cakes. That's what my New Year's resolution is going to be. More rice, fewer cookies. That might work for you. As long as we can remember that the point of a New Year's resolution is to improve our lives, and it doesn't have to be painful. Your New Year's resolution could simply be, I would like to make a greater effort to be kinder to my friends and family, or even just strangers on the street. That is a perfectly valid New Year's resolution that will probably make you feel a lot more emotionally healthy at the end of the day than, giving up the cookies will. And actually, giving up the cookies might well make you depressed, because quite frankly, giving up that sugar high is going to have consequences. But there are many, many ways in which we can express this, because we are, in effect, only expressing a desire for self-improvement, which I'm sure we all have to some extent or another. And this is just a time of year when society says, let us march forward with our desire for self-improvement. So I also got a lot of feedback in the comments from those of you who are, like me, shopaholics, who have said, yeah, I'm a shopaholic, so what? I'm not quitting. It's like, oh, I like that. And others who said, no, you get to buy things. If you want to buy clothes, you can buy clothes. By the way, my inner toddler is really grateful for the validation on that one. But what I am looking at doing, and I believe I mentioned this, and I don't know if I got very specific about it. What I am doing this year is I am going to reduce that clothing allowance I have given myself these many years. I'm just going to reduce that. I am going to make an effort to cut that back by 50%. So my clothing allowance this year is going to be half what it was. Not just last year, but the year before, going back to the 1980s when I first established that clothing allowance. Am I going to be able to succeed in this? I don't know. Am I going to feel like a failure if I don't? No, because that is one thing that I changed when I started looking at New Year's resolutions. It's not, I am going to keep my clothing spending under X number of dollars this year. Nope. I am going to try. I am going to make an honest effort to keep my spending under X number of dollars this year. Because that way, if I don't quite succeed, I haven't fallen on my face. I'm not going to feel bad about myself. Well, if you had any discipline, you'd have done this. Everybody else can seem to manage to keep their clothing spending in line. Why can't you? Don't you realize there are people starving in this world and you're blowing your money on frivolous things like clothing? Yeah, because believe me, I can be very, very harsh on myself when I think I am failing. Oh, when I think I am failing, by the way, it just goes into a complete funk, and I start dragging everything out. It's like, and your taste in clothing is miserable in the first place, so why are you doing this? Oh, I can get down on myself in a way No one else can, because I know all my dark and fearful little corners. I know where all the gremlins live, and I am not afraid to scratch at them when I am feeling bad about myself. So I need to make sure I don't feel bad about myself. I need to make sure I have enough of an escape valve. I am going to try. At this moment, I am sincere about that. We'll see how well that works when I actually put to the test. You know, when I see something I probably shouldn't buy, but it's going to be on sale and it's going to be gorgeous, and that inner toddler is going to scream, gimme, gimme, gimme. We'll see how well that works out. But for the moment, it's just going to be a resolution to try to deal with this. Meanwhile, of course, I'm going to look at what Anne and what other of our viewers had said about trying to figure out why I'm tempted in the first place. Am I tempted to be spending money on clothing because I had gained so much weight and it had been quite a long time since I felt normal sized and could get nice clothing? Maybe. Maybe I am just sort of, I don't know, not exactly rewarding myself for losing weight, but embracing the fact that there was something I wasn't able to do for a while. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe this is not so much a reward as it's a consolation prize. I have to look at that. I have to look at why I am falling into these patterns. In general, when I fall into a bad behavior pattern, because I know me, it's because I'm bored. It's because, the wheels are spinning at 80 miles an hour, but nothing else is going on in my life. I have no place to put all that mental energy. So, sitting in front of a computer and looking up an item that it crossed my mind, but I don't really need it. But yeah, let's go find it. Let's go see what the market is in this particular sort of thing. The last one that got me was wool nightshirts. I was having trouble finding them, and I started making it a crusade to find wool nightshirts. And I don't know, one thing leads to another when I start doing that. And once I find the wool nightshirt, well, I've already done all the groundwork, so I might as well buy it. So I have to watch that. Am I just reacting out of boredom? If so, got to rein that back in. Am I buying clothing as a reward because I've lost weight? Well, if so, then I'm going to allow myself a little of that. Because you know this, because I say this all the time. I believe firmly in rewarding yourself for something positive. You do something good, you want that pat on the back, I'm 100% in favor of letting you have it. So if this is my way of rewarding myself for losing weight, I will let myself do some of that. Not to the extreme, but some of it. Is this a consolation prize? Is buying clothing consoling me for not being able to eat whatever I wanted to, which Lord knows I was doing because, as my grandmother always said, you don't get fat just by looking at the food. So I was definitely doing more than looking at the food. So is this my consolation prize? Am I substituting buying clothing for whatever was propelling me toward the refrigerator? Is that what I'm doing? Have I gotten rid, I wouldn't say I've gotten rid of it. Am I in the process of getting rid of one bad habit and simply substituting another for it? If that's what I'm doing, then that's not so good. And I need to figure out why I am engaging in these behaviors, whether it be overeating or over shopping. Get to the root of that. And that's, like I said, that's what Anne is talking about. So I would need to do that. So I think for me, it is an ongoing process. I think for some of our viewers, it is also an ongoing process because a lot of you left comments that indicated you are not afraid to scratch at that itch and see what's beneath the surface. And that's getting to whatever is from propelling these bad behaviors in the first place is probably going to be a lot more beneficial than simply playing whack-a-mole with it. It's like food, bang, comes up as shopping, bang. Well, what's it going to come up as next? Day drinking? I mean, I could find worse things to do than eat or shop, and I don't want to go there. So that's where I am at this point. I did want an opportunity to share with you some of the things our viewers have sent, and thank you to everyone who sent things. I hope you know, I do not expect presents from you, but that does not diminish my delight and appreciation when they come my way. So thank you so much. All right. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. For those of you who join us for Just Chatting, that'll be 8 o'clock New York City time this evening. And for the rest of you, I hope to see you again next time. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.